All right, so welcome to day two. Yesterday we covered the basics. We figured out what market profile was, what its components were, how it's constructed, all that good stuff. So today we're going to get much more advanced. But with some of you yesterday, I had some cool conversations. And I thought that it would be nice to take some examples from yesterday and some things that happened and go through it today and just kind of like follow up on some concepts. So I loved the way I'm not sure if I said it or you said it, but we came to this together because Garrett was asking, about these profiles, those are 30-minute periods, but then it becomes day-to-day profiles. So it's really like a different way of looking at a bar chart. Absolutely. And the way we phrased it, I think, was, it's like a bar chart, a daily bar chart, except instead of candlesticks showing 4 data points, open, high, low, close, right? We have the high and the low, and then it gets fat or skinny based on where we spent time during that day. That's essentially what it is. So that's kind of a very straightforward, I liked that. Yesterday was a great study of micro pour highs in crude oil. Okay, and in fact, that little bitty video that we were looking at yesterday was yesterday's profile up to that point. So it's hard to tell right now, but what we're going to do here, this is crude oil, and we are going to go back to yesterday. We're going to replay this chart at kind of a fast speed. We are going to start from 2017, 8:15 at the pit session open, which is 9 a.m. for crude oil, Eastern. And then I'll be able to kind of fast forward it in little 15-minute increments whenever I press this button. So this single chart, play. So here we are. Here's yesterday unfolding in real time, okay? I'm going to kind of zoom in on it and make it a little bit easier to see. So this is at 1 times speed. Let's make it at 120 times speed. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to make it 1 times speed. I just want to fast forward. So let's fast forward 15 minutes. Okay, so now we're into B period. Nothing yet. We have more excess on the high than the low at the moment. We're kind of developing along. Okay, we pushed even lower. And in fact, let's split the profile out into periods, right? So now you can see whether it's stacked or whether it's individual periods. So we'll keep them split. Let's keep going. What do you see? A little micro pour high right there, right? See those 2 levels at the same price? Take it out. Let's continue. What do you see? Micro pour high. Trade it all the way down. That was a beautiful trade. Took it out. Keep going. I think there was another one that's set up that we may, because we're skipping 15 minutes at a time, we may miss it. Nope, look at that. And that's at the high of day now, right? Very unlikely to remain as the high of day there. That gives you an edge. That gives you an ability to continue to trade directionally. Look at that, into the close. There you go. This was yesterday. This is not some cherry-picked example, right? I thought it was a good example. We had several micro pour highs or lows, or pour highs in this case, during that session. So I thought that was a great teaching point to talk about today. Stock conversation with Jackie. All right. Jackie let me know about a trade he took, and I let him know that I didn't quite approve of the trade, that perhaps there was a contextual piece missing and we could improve upon that. What does this day look like to you? Bullish or bearish? What is any implications for the following day here?
Bearish.
Pretty bearish, right? I mean, that any measure of standard price action, we close near the lows, We failed up with a big wick. We pulled back perhaps the VWAP or something. Probably not. That was a little above VWAP. And then went lower and we're consolidating into the close. That's by any picture bearish. Let's look at what this day looked like in terms of the profile. This day was this day. Spike higher and lower. But what is changing there? What's the dynamic? What's different about that day versus what we have seen leading up to that?
Can happen a reversal?
Point of control is higher.
What?
Point of control is higher.
Okay, point of control is higher. Okay.
First time all week.
What's one of the most important things about what is it all about? We talked value and balance. That's what it's all about. First time we have some value migration higher, correct? Okay. That even though it was a down day in my mind, we had gapped up, so the market's a little bit unsure. Whoa, this is a little different. We trade back down into established value. Where's the low of day into? Point of control from the prior day. Okay, key references we can start to put this puzzle together. Notice where each of these days opens, and look at the rejection of prior value. Okay, we open and reject this day's value and trade lower. We open here, ultimately can't. It's kind of in a back and forth across it a little bit. But ultimately, we put excess in and we trade the majority of the day back below prior day's value. This day here, gap down, trade up, reject prior day's value, we trade lower. What about this day? Totally different. We're trading well. In fact, it's a gap up entirely. And then we come in and the low of day is right into the point of control. But starting to see some balance here, which is what we're going to talk about, between those 2 days rather than an imbalance down. Okay, I think I have another thing to point out. Oh, it was the open. It was where each day had opened. We had finally opened higher.
One thing you didn't point out earlier was that on the lowest day, it closed higher.
It did.
So it's kind of like a reverse.
It did, and look at how different that was. Look at this close at the low, 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 and then this day was kind of a reversal. So where we close is not as important as where value is migrating, because any candlestick chart or daily chart can tell us where we close and whatnot. How that happened and what volume was behind it and kind of looking a little more intraday to see what that looked like can be really important. But that's absolutely another change in the tempo, if you will, the change in the dynamic of this series unfolding. This is yesterday, and the upper red line and the lower red line is the 2 day, those 2 balancing days leading into this day, a composite profile, which is what we're going to be talking about today. The white line at the top and the white line at the low is the value area from the prior day. Okay? So what does this day do? We open up in the middle of this area. We kind of test lower, find some strong buyers, and that's where Jackie decided to short, which is actually, it's on the verge of really changing condition and really getting into trend mode, imbalanced up. In fact, what that's doing is spiking and coming back to retest that composite structure before going higher. And that led to nice pullback long opportunities if you're a trend follower type of trader throughout that day.